Hey guys, here we are in Esterhazy, Saskatchewan, my hometown. This is the town that I used to go cruising around in, up and down Main Street, cruise in front of the high school in my parents' Oldsmobile because I didn't have a car in high school. In fact, I very rarely went cruising at noon hour. I guess I had a motorcycle. I had a little Yamaha RZ 350 sport bike, which was kind of cool. But yeah, just making a little cruise past the high school. It's kind of funny when you drive past somewhere you haven't been past for a while. I didn't realize how big the trees were. Everybody used to hang out on the front lawn, and guys would cruise by with their cars at noon hour with the stereos cranked, and it was awesome. We'll just head over to my brother's workshop and check out his 83 Lincoln Continental Mark 6. He's had it for probably close to 20 years. I'm in my brother's workshop. I used to probably torment him in the late 90s, filling it full of Mustang stuff and working on my stuff. And he wasn't always able to work on his stuff. So we're in my brother's workshop. And here we have his 83 Lincoln Continental Emilio Pucci edition. So, Chris,
Continental Mark 6.
It's a Mark 6. So how many were built?
773 of the two doors.
773 the two doors. How many four doors?
Just over 2,000.
Okay, so it's actually quite a rare car. And let's face it, when you get kind of a neat car, what do you like to do? You like to get a personalized license plate. So how long have you owned the car for?
I bought it in 2004, so
19 years ago. So then you applied for a personalized license plate for the car. And since it's an Emilio Pucci edition, how many different things did you put on the form, different choices?
Just one.
Just
one.
So
I wanted Pucci, P-U-C-C-I. And in the Lincoln Club, anybody that owns any of these cars, they refer to them as the Pucci. That's just because it was Emilio Pucci, the fashion designer. That's what the car was named after.
Yeah, he's a famous Italian designer.
Right.
Okay. So you would have sent Pucci in on the form to the government license plate, personalized license plate registry to get approval. And what happened?
Denied.
So then what did you do?
I decided to call the number that was on the rejection form and talk to the person that rejected it, because I thought that there should be no problem with this. So I talked to the person and I asked them, why was this rejected? And they, all of a sudden, their tone changed and they said, well, isn't it obvious? And it wasn't obvious to me.
And didn't you say, explain it to me?
I said, well, tell me what. And she said, well, isn't it obvious? It refers to a female body part.
What is it?
It rhymes with a female body part.
Never in my wildest dreams did I ever think that it would be something vulgar. And this person thought that it was. So I asked them, are you sitting in front of a computer right now? Yes. I said, well, just type in Pucci, and the very first thing that pops up is the Emilio Pucci fashion designer website. It was at that time anyhow. Well, their computer was conveniently down at that very moment. So then I spoke to the supervisor and went through the same spiel, and he says, well, I'm a car guy and I've never heard of that model. And I said, well, the name is displayed in the side glass of the vehicle. It's already on display. Well, he said, okay, I'll allow it this time, but you can't put it on any other vehicle. Why would I want to put it on any other vehicle? So in the end, I did get the license plate.
So folks, here we are. I'll just flip So there's Chris's collector plate, Pucci. And I'm just going to go around to the side of the car. There's our signature on it, Emilio Pucci. It likely says it on the dash too.
Yeah, it's on the dash plate.
Yeah. Right up here. And man, look at these seats. Like it's like sitting on the couch. What a beautiful car. And if you've never driven in something like this, they just float along down the highway. Like, do these have the oil-filled shocks in them?
These have the oil-filled shocks in them. The later gas-filled shock absorbers tend to offer a harsher ride. And I did have the gas-filled shocks on this before. I wasn't happy with them, so I put new old stock oil-filled shock.
Check out the wheels on here, the Royal Seal tires. So how old would those tires be?
Those were actually takeoffs in 1985. They're identical and they are correct for the tires that this vehicle left the factory with.
Remember these guys? Yeah, I figured that would be in its original paint. It's just a beautiful car. And your other project here, what year is this one?
This is a 1965 Chevrolet C30 one-ton truck.
Its nickname is JW.
This truck, I call it JW because that's the initials of the person that I bought the truck from. And this truck originally left the factory as a cab and chassis. I got a vehicle history report from General Motors on it. It was, I believe, used as a show truck in Vancouver. And I believe it was on display. That's just speculation on my part. And it was sold new in Vancouver and somehow made its way to Saskatchewan. So it never had a box on it, but I have a correct box to put on it. And
but I remember the gentleman that owned this truck. I remember when I was in my teens and 20s, I remember this truck driving around town, and it's still in town. So what are a couple of things that you've been doing to it? Just some modifications?
I decided that I'd like to have power brakes in it. So I fabricated an adapter plate to go between a power brake mount and the firewall.
That's cool. And my goodness, the sound is echoing off the hood in here. So you got the inline six in it?
It's a 292 cubic inch motor, so it's the biggest six that you can get.
And I see you're doing something with a door that you're working on.
I have a power window set up, so basically it's a hybrid between a 70s or 80s Chevrolet van power window regulator and then the original 6456 Chevrolet gear and arm mechanism.
And then you got a power lock mechanism in there. And, just looking in the back, the sandblasting cabinet, that's a twin to the one that's in my workshop because...
That's number 1 Mark II.
So the one I have is original.
Number 1 Mark I.
And when Chris built his shop, Dad said, "You're not taking that sandblasting cabinet with you. You got to make your own." So his was you built that one?
I built that one first, and then when I bought my place, Dad wouldn't let me take it with me, so I had to build another one.
Well, if anybody's doing any light restoration or anything, man, once you get a sandblasting cabinet, you can't stop. You end up looking for stuff to blast. It just turns out so good. But I wanted Chris to tell the story about the license plate. I just thought that was so funny how they didn't want to allow it at first, and refers to a female body part apparently. While I'm in town, I thought I'd head out to the local airport and show you guys where the drag races would take place back, 20 years ago. So we're heading out there right now. It's about a mile out of town and about a mile south and end of this road. I remember coming out here, my dad would bring my brother and I out here in the 70s. And there was a gentleman named Garth. He would look after the airport, and there would be Cessnas lined up and maybe the odd Piper Cub or a Ronca or some kind of, you know, period correct from the 50s, 60s. Even to see a plane in the 70s would have been a brand new plane, but maybe somebody had one, and it was always a treat to come out here. But back in the late 90s, I think, is when the drag racing started. It lasted for about 5 years, and I think by the second or third year, the crowd, including the people racing, there was up to 3,000 people out here. You know, it did taper off as the years went by, but so here's the spectators would be all down in this area. This would have been the pit area down here. This is to the west, and everybody would stage over here, and somewhere right around here we had the starting line. This event brought more people to this town than any curling bonspiel, golf tournament, or hockey tournament. Anyways, around 2005 or so, the airport got repaved, and if I'm not mistaken, our club may have given money, the car club may have given money to the town to help repave it, because we did use it. Right after it was repaved, miraculously, the car club wasn't allowed to have any more events out here. It was disappointing that they didn't want us racing out here. You know, we had one event during the year and maybe 2 fun days. I guess if they don't like drag racing, they thought they could kick us off, which they did. And that's terrible, because the town had, the hotels were filled, the restaurants were filled, the gas stations were busy. It was a good event, lots of work went into it, and lots of good people helped make it happen. So that's where our drag racing was. It was good, a lot of fun. And there we go. That used to be Mr. Gregory's restaurant. We used to go there all the time after parties, grab a pizza. And because of no drag racing at the airport, we had to find some place to go. So just used to go ahead, guys used to head east of town. We go through the valley, and just past the Ford dealership, guys would drag race out here. Had to go someplace. Let's check it out. There's our they got quite a bit of inventory.
Yeah.
I'm actually kind of surprised.
I've never seen that many vehicles there.
Anyways, roughly where the 100 km/h sign was, that's where the quarter mile would start. And we're not sure if it was measured out perfectly, but this is where the racing would happen for anybody that may have indulged in such activities. So yeah, it was either out here or out at the airport or wherever else, but not sure that street racing happens like it used to. While we're at it, guys, I thought I'd show you what our little town is known for. It's the biggest potash mining operation in the world. And they just set up another mine a few years ago. It's K3. K1 started in the early 60s, K2 by the late 60s if I'm not mistaken, and here's K3. They have 2 shafts going down underground, probably roughly 3,000 feet, and there it is. So they would mine the potash underground here at K3, then K2 is up over there, probably about 5 or 6 miles away, and then K1 is another 3 or 4 miles away, or 5 or 6 miles away. So there's actually 2 mills and now 1 underground operation. Yeah, that's was a big deal for the town, and pretty important. Producing potash fertilizer for farming operations all the way around the world. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and hope everyone has a good holiday, and we will catch you in the next video. Cheers.